Hey everybody, this is Bill with Orange County Beekeeping Supplies. This is our complete package update on day 10 beekeeping in Southern California. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to jump right in and take off the telescoping lid and the inner cover. We're going to show you guys pro tip 103. We're going to tap the bees off the inner cover. Right there, tap. Right onto the frames. We want to do that gently. Notice the cluster of bees there toward the middle of the hive. The smoker here is barely lit. There's just the most minute amount of smoke. When we smoke this hive, it's so small. So we're going to start on the outside frame. We're going to pull it out. We're going to observe what's going on. Not too much. A couple bees here and there. We will leave it outside the box so we have room to work. The next frame. A little bit of wax production, a little bit of wax on the top of the frame there. We're going to put it back in and we're going to scoot it all the way to the side of the box, giving us room. On to the next frame. A couple bees at the bottom. Don't see any wax production, no comb being pulled. Notice how we put the frames next to each other. That way there's not a lot of space and we don't crush any bees. Next frame shows a little bit of comb production. They're starting to pull some wax here on these acorn frames. It's amazing it's so far from the cluster and they're still on it pulling wax. A little bit more bees in the bottom. Again, sliding those frames right next to each other, keeping them tight. On to the next frame, ladies and gentlemen. Here we're seeing a bit more bees. We have more wax production around the frame. We'll keep these shots pretty much zoomed in so you guys can see what's going on. So this is almost our first frame of full bees. It's almost full. I'd say it's probably closer to a half frame of bees. But they've got it almost all pulled, the entire frame. We have pollen in the middle. I also see the teeniest bit of nectar in here. So the bees have been out foraging a little bit. Pro tip 186, blowing on the frames, the bees will go away from the spots you blew on, so now we can really get a good look at the frame. You can see the pollen load, maybe you can see a little bit of the shine from the nectar. Now we're going to put it back in. We're going to pull it up tight, closer to the other frames, giving us enough room to pull this next frame. I'm going to pull these out a little easier because we know the queen is close. The queen is close. There's a little bit more population on this frame. We're going to use that pro tip. What was the number? 186. That's right. You know there's going to be a quiz at the end of the year. There will be prizes involved. Now we're going to take a good look at this and read the frame together. Looks to me like a complete pulled frame. There's comb in it. They're starting to store pollen. There's still a little bit of nectar trickling in. We'll flip it over. We're going to bring the frame close up to our face. We're going to blow on it. We're going to move the bees out of the way. You guys can see all that brand new, clean wax right there. It is pulled beautifully on these acorn foundations. This is why we have them custom, triple heavy, deluxe coated for you. And using what we feel is the best equipment available in the marketplace, we feel that the bees pull this quicker. Therefore, there's empty comb, allowing our queens to lay eggs, which leads to colony growth. Now take care with that apivar strip. Most of the time the bees have burr combed it or propolized it right to the frame. So don't worry about pulling it out. Go ahead and pull the frame out like we have done here. Okay, this frame is more like it. This is what we like to see. This will in turn become colony growth. We have eggs, we have larvae, and we even have some capped brood. So an egg is an egg for 3 days, the larva is larva for 6 days, and when it pupates and it's covered, capped brood, it is there for 12 days. So from egg to worker bee is 21 days. So hopefully we will see a significant difference in approximately 21 days. So as I hold this frame up close to the camera, that white milky stuff, that is larva If you look close, there is a worm in there, a larva, and that is what is occupying the comb. We always want to see eggs, larva, and then again, the pupa or the capped brood in a hive. Those are all signs of a laying queen. Flip it over, take a look at this side, blow on the frames a little bit. Now that we're right on top of the center of the hive, we just blew on that frame and look, we have more larvae, we have eggs, and that stuff in the middle, right there in the middle, that is capped brood. If you look close at it, it's not capped honey, it's capped brood. There it is, capped brood. It's really light in color, it's a little fuzzy. Let me see if I can get some more bees off this for you. There you go. So that solid pattern there in the middle, that is capped brood. That will hatch out in just a few days. When we pull this next frame, we want to take extra care not to rub or rake any bees against that apivar strip. There you go. Take your time. Oh, look at the center of that. We have some more capped brood. We have more larvae. We have more eggs. We love to see that. Here's our queen. Not so much hiding like she was in the last video. She is a dark queen. The dark queens, where these packages come from, these are their Carnolian queens. This is not an Italian queen. With the packages, I believe there are two kinds of packages that the club received. They were Carnolians or Italians. So the shakeout of the bees in this hive is definitely Italian, and the queen is a Carnolian. So we will see if this hive darkens up with the Carnolian traits. Make sure that your queen is properly positioned on the frame before putting it back in. So she's dead center. We're not going to squish her as we pull that frame in. Make sure we don't roll her on the apivar strip. That's it, right there. Right there. Take extra caution with that strip when putting bees or pulling frames in and out. Here's our last frame. They're pulling wax. There's really not too much else going on here. I'm sure the queen will make her way over and start laying eggs. A little bit of oh, what's that? What is that? That's a queen cup. Let me get over here. Let me get it focused. We're going to take a look. We see a little bit of pollen, a little bit of nectar there. Now we're going to move it over. We're going to find that queen cup for you right there. And bees build these. They just build these, but we don't want it to turn into a queen cell. So we're going to remove it. It eases our frame of mind, knowing, boom, that's not going to be a queen cell later because we got rid of the queen cup. Now take an up-close look. This is how the bees pull. Look at the shape. It's beautiful. This is pulled comb. This is where they store things, as you can see in this frame. Pollen, nectar. They're working on that corner. All right, let's put things back together. Quick look on the other side for a queen cell or a queen cup. There's none. We're going to push it all back together. Put the other frame in it. We're going to add some syrup. And we're going to add a little bit of pollen patty to it to help these bees grow. Right now, they're still hovering at about 2.5 frames. Of course, they're still hovering on 2.5 frames because there has been no bees hatching out yet. As you notice, we moved the frames as a group. We didn't move them one at a time. If you move them one at a time, your queen could get smashed in there. So always move your frames as a group. We added a little piece of pollen patty right there. We're grabbing a liter of syrup. We're going to fill up the feeder, and then we're going to call it a day. So to sum it up on day 10, we have eggs, we have larvae, we have capped brood. Our queen is laying. We've added some more food to it. They've pulled some wax. They've made some comb for the bees to store pollen, nectar, and again, room for the queen to lay eggs. So it is progressing slowly, and hopefully we actually see some colony growth by next week. Okay, you guys, here's the big lesson of the day. Check your package. Get in your hives once a week and make sure that you guys are seeing growth, that your queens are laying, that you have larvae and eggs and cap brood at this point, day 10. On goes the inner cover, followed by the telescoping lid, and we'll call it a day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please feel free to leave comments, hit the notification button, and hey, Ding Dong, that was your cue.
Oh, yeah. And like and subscribe.
All right, buddy, good job.
Yippee!